Hello, Internet. This is Tyler with Tyler's Clutter Desk. And recently, me and my best friend spent a few days in Ashland, Oregon, and I got the chance to go to one of my favorite bookstores, which is called Bloomsbury Books. And it's named after the Writers Association that Virginia Woolf was in. So I went there and got a couple books, and I also went to a book sale at the Ashland local library. So I wanted to make a video and talk about the books that I got there, and maybe a couple of my chance encounters and experiences in Ashland. So yeah, one of the ones that I'm most excited about is Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. Now, in the town that I live in, there's only one bookstore, and it's a small used bookstore, so there's not usually a big variety. And finding books by kind of more less popular authors like Joan Didion, perhaps. I know she's still a big deal, but I guess it's not something you would find as commonly as people like Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, Shakespeare, etc. So this small bookstore doesn't have as many authors kind of in Joan Didion's rank. Anyway, I've been looking for some of her work for a while because I've heard good things about it, kind of just on the internet and in the circles that I'm in. And so, yeah, I was really excited to find this. I'm really interested to read her essays on keeping a journal or keeping a notebook. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited. And I found this book kind of difficult for me to track down, especially in my local bookstore. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to read this. I also found this literary magazine called, I think it's Granta, right? Yeah. And this looks really interesting. The thing that really piqued my interest is it has a short story by the Austrian author Elfriede Jelinek, who I find a very interesting author, specifically the way that she writes characters in psychology. I read her book, The Piano Teacher, which the Michael Haneke film La Pianiste is filmed after, or made kind of in inspiration of that novel. And so if you've seen that movie, you kind of know what the book is about, but the book really goes a lot more in depth into the psychological happenings of Erica and Clemmer. And it's just a really fascinating book. I think the way that she writes and talks about the darker side of humanity is really fascinating. So finding a translation of one of her shorter works was really exciting for me, because again, I have trouble finding kind of translated works by her, especially with my selection with my bookstore at home. So yeah, that was exciting. I found this little Penguin's Great Ideas on existentialism, and it's by, see if I can get the camera to focus, it's by Simone de Beauvoir. I know it's probably flipped, but it's by Simone de Beauvoir. And I've never read any of her work, but I'm very interested in existentialism, so I figured I would pick it up. It was on a discounted price, kind of on the vein with existentialism. I also bought some work by Soren Kierkegaard. I have a couple of other, I have Fear and Trembling, and then there's one other one I have. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on the bookshelf. Oh, The Present Age. Yeah, see, I have Fear and Trembling, and I have The Present Age as well. So, yeah, so I'm kind of stacking up some Kierkegaard works to read. In my last video, I talked about the fact that I'm Danish, so Soren Kierkegaard is kind of cool. It's cool to read Danish authors. I feel like there aren't very many, at least that I can think of, that are well known. So it's cool to read Soren Kierkegaard, and it's somebody who I feel like I have ancestral ties to in a way. I also bought a copy of the Penguin translation of the Quran, just because I've been really interested in learning more about Islam and its culture and its scriptures, what they really say, because I know there's a lot of kind of stigma around them in the modern day, so I really want to, instead of make assumptions, really know and understand what they believe, what their culture's like, what their scriptures say, just because I want to understand, I'm an Orthodox catechumen right now, and so understanding Islam is really important, I feel like, because it's such a big presence in the East. It's kind of in a dualistic ideological yin-yang with Orthodoxy in the East. I feel like it's kind of Islam and Christianity that are the two major religions, and so I want to understand Islam. And so yeah, I bought this this translation of the Quran. I also got Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I read excerpts of this book for interpersonal communications class a couple terms ago, and the excerpts that I read were just really incredible, and had just a really profound effect on me. And so, when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is my chance to read the whole book. Viktor Frankl was, I believe, he was a survivor of the Holocaust, and so a lot of his writings are kind of about. And I also believe it was either a therapist or a psychologist. Yeah, he became a renowned clinical psychologist. So a lot of it is him relaying his experiences and talking about man's search for meaning in such a desperate situation and time. And then the final one I got, this one I got I mentioned that I went to a Friends of the Library book sale in Ashland. I got this one, and it's a concise history of Western architecture. It was $1 a book, so I couldn't really go wrong. And it's just a really beautiful, I don't know how well you can see it. It's just a really beautiful book. It's kind of in that old style, where it describes Western architecture, but then it has so many of these just beautiful photos and prints. Oops, there's a page falling out. Sorry, I'm trying to. But yeah, it just has these really beautiful kind of descriptions and prints that it was like for $1. Yeah, you can't go wrong. I couldn't turn that down. Yeah, those were the books that I got. I'm looking forward to kind of working through these. I'm taking the next year or so off of college to work on some self-study projects and kind of save some money up. So I'll be working through a lot of these, and again, I'll continue to kind of make videos and talk about what I'm reading at the moment, and just thoughts and whatever I can come up with. Yeah, apart from buying books, my trip to Ashland was actually really neat. I met, I can't remember his name right now, but I met an old, what would I call him? He was a chess champion from, it was either North or South Carolina, who actually practiced with Bobby Fischer at one point, and then suffered a traumatic brain injury due to a car crash, and kind of became homeless after that. But then he made his way to Ashland and kind of began to make money off of teaching chess lessons. And so just a really incredible story. You can look it up too. It's all true. And me and my friend were at an Italian cafe in Ashland, and he was there, and he just had a sign that said chess lessons. And it was like $10 for like half an hour. So I paid him $10, sat down, and we're playing chess. He's giving me these chess lessons, and he's just telling me his story, and it was just really incredible. And sure enough, at first, I was kind of like, I wasn't sure if he was telling the truth or not. But me and my friend looked it up, and it's real, and so that was kind of a cool experience. I also learned how to mambo and how to salsa dance at that same cafe. That was cool. We were there on the second night of our trip, and we were just having coffee, and all of a sudden people started moving the tables, and I was kind of like talking to one of the people at the counter, and I was like, what's going on? Why are they moving everything? And they were like, oh, we're gonna have a teacher show up, and we're gonna teach people how to salsa dance and how to mambo. So they move all the tables, and then like 10 minutes later they start this music up, and like they just danced in the middle of this cafe, and it was like the coolest thing ever. I learned how to dance, and for those people who know a little bit about me, I love to dance. I'm part of an English country dance group in my hometown. We dance every week, and we throw balls kind of once every season. So learning a new kind of dance, new style of dance was just my bread and butter. Especially something so fun. I don't know. It's a very lively kind of dance. So that was a cool experience. I also got to see Raisin in the Sun. My friend and I went to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and that was, man, I paid, I think, maybe $75 for my ticket, and I would probably pay $100, maybe even twice my ticket price, because it's just that amazing. If you ever get the chance, like if you're in Oregon, you're in the Ashland area, go to the Shakespeare Festival, because their sets are incredibly made. The acting is just so profound. Everything about the play is just really carefully put together, artfully put together, with a deep appreciation for theater and the impact it can have on people when it's done well. Just very professional, just really incredible. Yeah, that was certainly a trip. I cried a couple times during the play. I think it was almost 2.5 hours long, maybe even 3 hours. Um, so it was quite the emotional journey, but just really beautifully done. And yeah, I had a lot of fun on that trip, and I look forward to making it through some of these books, and I look forward to talking to you folks on the internet about them. So in the meantime, I hope you all do well, and take care.